Hey guys, Phil Short here with NUX Audio, and today I'm really excited to show you a demo of the incredible NUX B-7 Pro wireless in-ear monitoring system. So let's check it out. So here is the NUX B-7 Pro, and this is their top range wireless in-ear system. And it's really clever, intuitive bit of kit, because what they've managed to do is design a bit of wireless gear that operates on the 2.4 gigahertz wireless system or wireless bandwidth, which is notoriously bad for getting interference with, especially with Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi operates on the same frequency. But what they've done is they've managed to create technology where essentially the transmitter and the receiver are able to just jump around the entire frequency spectrum. And so as soon as it detects any kind of interference, it just resets itself to a brand new frequency within that 2.4 gigahertz range. And I have used this in the wild on a couple of occasions now, with loads of RF stuff flying around, a few 5.8 things flying around, but also more high-end wireless stuff that's going around. And I've had no interference issues with this whatsoever. I've been really impressed. Really clean audio. Now, the other thing that's really cool about this unit is it runs off of a battery for the transmitter as well. So it comes with a power supply, a center negative 12 volt power supply, but it can run off of a 9 volt as well. And it requires 1 amp, so 1000 milliamps. But you can charge it up and you can get 6 hours of juice out of it. So if you are playing in function bands, and most function bands these days are using in-ear monitoring, but not everybody is using wireless because it's quite expensive. If you've got your hard line, you could just rig this up to your hard line, and then you can be wireless and free to roam, which is really cool. So in terms of its ports on the back, let's have a look at the back first. Let me just get a good line up on the close-up camera so it's in focus. There we go. You'll see on the back here we've got 2 sockets. So we've got jack, 1/4 inch jack, and that can also be XLRs on the back as well. So you've got options of what you're running into it. There's also an auxiliary in as well. So there's multiple applications for this unit of what you might want to use it for. And then on the front, we've got a nice LCD display, a couple of controls, which I'll talk us through in a second. And then there's also a headphone out here as well, which is really handy if you're running into problems and you want to troubleshoot something. You could plug your in-ears directly into that. Am I actually getting any sound? Is it an issue with the transmitter or whatever? So super handy. You could also come out of that if you wanted to, say, record your in-ear mix directly into your iPhone for a gig or something like that. So a couple of cool different applications. Now, the other really cool thing with this is the belt pack for your ears connects to the top. There's this really cool magnet on the front. I don't know if you'll see that very well. There you go. You can see those brass magnetic strips just there. Just clips on, doesn't fall off. Really cool. That also is how it charges. So you could be done with sound check, and then you can stick your belt pack back on here, and then this, the transmitter will charge the receiver. This has obviously got space for a bigger battery. You could also run this off the power supply and just leave it indefinitely if you wanted to, so you could just leave it charging. But you don't need to do that. You do get 6 hours of juice out of it, which is really cool. Now, to operate it, it's dead easy. All we do is turn on the unit. So just press this button on the front. You'll see it starts to power up. And then you'll see it's now scanning and looking for the receiver. So I'm just going to hold the power on button for the receiver. It turns on, and then you should see it connect. There you go, and both lights have gone green, and you've seen it connect. Oh dear, It's like looking in the mirror here with this. Now, the one thing I should say is if you turn it on and you don't turn on your receiver quick enough, then this will just switch itself off to save battery, which is really handy actually, because you don't want to leave it on by mistake. You might turn this off and forget to turn off your transmitter. You don't want to do that on a gig because then you'd be a bit stuck. Now you can see on the front, if we go back to the close-up camera, we can see on the front we've got some monitoring here. So let me remind myself of the monitoring. Oh yeah, we've got input levels and output levels that we can monitor. And let's just go through the menu here. So if I hit the power button, tap it, brings up the menu, and I can just use this dial to go through. So there's input settings. I've got the settings for the transmitter and the receiver that I can look at. I can change the display if I want to, system info, I can change the language. Now this is kind of cool, we'll come back to this. There's this phase option on there, and I've gone the wrong way, sorry. And then there's EQ, and there's the aux in level, there's the phone level, so you can control how hot the headphone output is. You can also control how hot the auxiliary input is, which is just here on the back. You can see it there, hopefully. Now, the thing that's really cool with this is sometimes what you can get when there's a lot of volume and stuff going on is you can end up with a situation where it feels like your in-ear mix is getting cancelled out. Because of what you're hearing back in the room. You can kind of get some weird phase issues. So all we have to do is click that button in, and then we've got the option to flip the phase. At the moment it's set to normal, but I could just pop down, then there's the tick, and it's done, which is really cool. The other option I also have is I can go to the EQ setting. Now this is also really, really useful. Because again, like different environments you're in, you'll experience the EQ, especially the low end, in slightly different ways. So they've got a couple of options. So there's just straight flat, then you've got a shelf at 300 Hertz, a shelf at 500 Hertz, and then we have a shelf at 300 but a 4 dB boost at 2K, so if you want a bit more presence in your mix. And then the same thing again, a low shelf at 500 Hertz, and then we've got a boost at 5K in the top end as well. And then you can save your own preset. At the moment I've got it set on flat. So that's really handy. Depends on what brand of in-ears you've got. You might think it's just not coming through quite bright enough, or the low end's too muddy or whatever. So you can experiment with those, which is super handy. Now that's really useful if someone else is doing your in-ear mix and you're not using like a personal mixer, if you've got a monitoring engineer, or if you're using an app that's just controlling the monitor outs from the digital desk that the front of house guy is using. But what I would recommend is if you're on gigs where you've got an actual personal mixer, so like an ME-1, like by Allen&Heath, or like the Behringer ones are quite popular as well for really useful, affordable systems. I would recommend getting one of these cables, which is a stereo jack to 2 monos, so that you can take the output, either the mini jack output, or you can use the 1/4" adapter, make sure it's a stereo one. And then that splits to go into your 2 inputs on the back here. And what that allows you to do is to plug into your mixer, and then rather than plugging your headphones directly in there, you can set your mix and your EQ exactly how you want, but then this is transmitting your mix for you. So that's been dead handy. So, on Amazon, less than a tenner. I would recommend getting one of those. They're really, really cool. We also have some volume controls as well. So on your actual pack, we've got plus and minus for some volume switching. So can we just see that there? Yes, we can. And it's super light as well. So it's not going to pull your trousers down, really heavy. You know, or if you're a singer and you want to clip this on the back of your dress, you know, it's not going to feel like it's pulling your, you know, pulling your collar up, or, you know, causing your dress to slip off your shoulders, which can be a real pain. I've seen lots of singers end up needing to, you know, sellotape their receiver, which is, you know, just a bit of a pain. But this is really lightweight, so you don't need to do that with this, which is really, really cool. So guys, that's everything that you kind of need to know practically about this. What I'm going to attempt to do now is find a way to get a record out from the receiver, from what I'm going to hear in my in-ears in a second, and get that to record into Logic. I'll show you how I've got it set up as well, so that you can hear what you hear across YouTube is what I was actually receiving through the pack. And we'll do some like volume adjustments and stuff, so you can hear the range of volume and difference in EQ. So I think what we'll do is we'll just do that with like playing a track. That'll be the easiest way. You can hear the full spectrum then. So let's go and do that now. Okay guys, so we are set up and ready to go. I've got my iPad here, and we're taking an aux cable out of the headphone jack, because I've got an old iPad that still has a headphone jack, going into the auxiliary in on the back of the transmitter. And I've loaded up my single from 2023, Eddie's Yard. You can learn it at Jam Track Central, at JTC Guitar, and you can listen to it on Spotify. Shameless plug, but that's what we're here for. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to power this up and power up the receiver. And then they're going to connect. Lovely. Now, at the moment, we won't hear anything just yet, but I'm going to press play on the iPad and we'll see the levels come up. So it's coming in quite hot and quite loud. So what I'm just going to do is go into the auxiliary in setting. And I'm just going to turn that level down a little bit. And now the input is not quite so hot. Okay, so we've seen that we've got some sound going in. I'm now going to take my receiver, I'm going to plug into the headphone out, my fancy little stereo to 2 mono jacks, so we can hear it recording into the DAW, so you guys can hear it, and I'll hear it out of the studio monitors. And so that's just stereo out into my 2 inputs on my Focusrite. So I'm just going to plug that in, and we should hear our tune. Right, so we've got signal coming in, and then nice and clean. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to turn that down so it doesn't drown out my my mic. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it up. So I think I'm already on full. But now I'm going to turn this. So it's got a really wide dynamic range. You can hear how much quieter that is. Yeah. And then we'll go all the way up again. Bit hot, back it up a little bit. All right, now while that's still rolling, let's have a look. I'm just going to turn it down. Let's have a look at messing with the EQ. So on here, we'll go through to the EQ. Okay, so it's currently on flat. This is what it sounds like with the 300 hertz shelf. That's quite a significant amount of low end. Even more with the 500 hertz. That's 300 with the 2K boost. And then that's 500 with the 5K boost. Now, it's worth pointing out that there's a significant difference between how that's going to affect a real live in-ear mix and listening to a mastered piece of audio. So obviously with a mastered piece of audio, it's like, well, it just sounds really thin and rubbish. But that's because we're on flat, we're already listening to it perfectly EQ'd. But when you're playing in a live band, what's coming in is just like completely raw and unmixed. So even though those settings don't sound good in this context, you might actually find it super useful for, you know, if the bass drum is like super boomy or the bass guitar is super boomy and you think, I need it to be a bit clearer in the low end. I need to hear the mid-range better, so I just need that low-end mud to just be taken out. Or I really want to hear more top-end detail in the vocals and in the guitars and things, so I just want that 4K boost. So that's a really cool feature that they've included in that. Yeah, so that is all the features that I think that we need to explore. Really, it's a fantastic bit of kit. You know, for what it is. You know, you're not going to find anything as good as this at this price point, I don't think. And it's one of the clearest and cleanest in-ear experiences that I've personally ever had. Never had any interference with it. It's a really great unit, so I definitely recommend that you check it out. Guys, thanks for checking in with my YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't before. It's been a few years since I've posted anything, but I'm going to be back into YouTube land and posting much more regularly. So let me know in the comments what kinds of things you'd love to see on the channel. I've got loads of cool ideas lined up, from short little tip lessons to reviewing some really cool pieces of gear. So thanks for being patient and sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next video.